So welcome to the Soul of the Moment for April 3rd. This is Marcella Eversole, and this is one of the programs of the College of Visionaries and Wizards Tribal Drumbeat Program. So we've had a couple interesting astrological events over the last week, and today I really wanted to sort of delve into the new cycle that began on Easter that's oriented around the Sun conjunct Mercury. So my understanding is when we have a Sun conjunct Mercury is it just thrusts us into a new cycle that often has a lot of themes to it that tend to play out during that cycle. And in this particular cycle, the Sun conjuncted Mercury in 12 degrees Aries. And that degree is a degree that deals with sort of a high stakes mastery and what it takes for us to sort of become an experienced warrior after we go through certain sort of, I mean, the language was a little dramatic, but that kind of ties into the moon in Scorpio, so I'm going to roll with it. But staggering events. And so today, with that new cycle beginning on Sunday, and the moon being in Scorpio, and also having the Sun and Mercury both in Aries, of course, still, just because they did that conjunction, and Venus in Taurus, I was feeling how there's this incredible opportunity to really be able to have fun with the ordeals that we do and have gone through, and being able to note that they are oftentimes an opportunity for us to bring in the great kind of unconditional love and awareness that happens when we feel so conflicted inside of ourselves and also so out of control in our own stories and our own mania and our own projections that it actually takes a tremendous amount of love and awareness of just the life process to insert itself in those places, to remind us that we are a both and creature with many parts, and that sometimes the acting out or the ordeals, as staggering as they may be, and as many times as we've gone through different versions of them, are just another opportunity to insert the love quotient right there in that spot to remember we're actually whole and complete already. And again, we're living through such an incredible time of polarization, such an incredible time of I'm this and you're that. And such an incredible time of wanting and knowing that we are so capable of such deep intimacy, such beautiful connection, such capacity for a relationship between the natural world, ourselves, other people, animals, creatures, elementals, all of that consciousness is here with us. And still, at least in my own life, I watch myself act out these certain components of separative ego and separation that seriously break my heart. And it's so beautiful sometimes when we get to be with family and actually really see some of these ways in which we create ordeals that are really connected to our ancestry. It's like we get steeped in a certain sense of how it is, how things are. What it means to be successful or to be identified, with certain characteristics. And I was really struck with how much ego, how much ego, even in the most subtle forms of ego, keeps me from loving as big as I love. There is a lot in the collective field where we are not really here and we really want to be here. And so that again sets up an inner turmoil almost, because we know that when we show up, there's so much love present, but we're aware that there are places in which it feels easier to show up inside of a collective condition that's accepted in the environment around us, even if that means we're not showing up. So it creates a conundrum. And sort of going back to my story, like I just feel sometimes so caught in those conundrums of the way the external, conditioning is out there, like knowing that if I show up this way, I'm going to be accepted, but I'm also not going to be here. And how do I actually keep that ongoing commitment to say, and to not be irritated? I mean, I think that's the other piece is to have the awareness of who I'm being and what's happening, and to not be irritated by the situation, so that I don't keep feeding the separative ego and the collective conditioning that's actually keeping me separate and struggling to connect and love at the level that I know I'm capable of loving at, where when I'm not being the love that I am, and I'm not actually reaching through the karmic stories to actually grab a hold of the people I love and say, hey, let's love each other right now, because we can, and we're here and we're present. It's like I have to take a big broom and like sweep my consciousness of all of that cluttered conflicts and conundrum that's basically just keeping me from fully showing up and being alive and just loving through, that which wants to sort of separate and identify and demonstrate. That's how I was feeling it. Like, oh, I'm trying to demonstrate right now. Like, what am I trying to demonstrate? I'm trying to demonstrate that I'm okay, or I'm trying to demonstrate that I have it together, or I'm trying to demonstrate. It's like, fuck the demonstration, just let's love each other right now, because this is what we have. Part of what's going, this is part of this cycle that we're moving into. And, thankfully, I'm not in this situation where the big staggering ordeals are erupting around me. But I am noting that actually when we're not necessarily in the phase of things showing up as staggering ordeals, there's still a way on the inside that it can be experienced as that. And there's also a way that we can remember that the younger people, like in my life, my son or my stepson, these things, when they get off, are way more extreme for them, so to remember that even though I'm not experiencing something as a staggering ordeal, the fact that I threw away my son's, cookies that were left in a bag that I thought were crumbs because they were tiny little Easter cookies, that's a huge ordeal for him, right? So how do I now hold space for other people's experience of an ordeal without adding more energy to the ordeal aspect, but actually continuing to be a love demonstration in the face of that says, man, I am so sorry, let's go. Oh, hey, it fell on a coffee filter. How perfect is that? I can pull it out of the garbage can and you could eat it and it will have a slight bit of mocha on there, and it was okay. But had I not been a love demonstration, that could have been an hour-long tantrum. So this is how I'm kind of holding the cosmic weather right now.